think that's a very important piece. Is that something you run into when you're talking to your clients, to really getting them to understand who they are and what really is important to them before they start trying to create a plan or move forward financially?
So absolutely. Um, as a matter of fact, that's the number one thing because finances is an interesting it's an interesting career because let's say if you are a car salesman, right, and you sell a car. Somebody walks off the lot, they have a car in their hands, or they drive out with a car. It's something very tangible, right? So they know they paid this amount of money and then they're going to get this car. Now, when it comes to finances, it's different because finances are not really tangible because what you're talking about is you're talking about saving money now that will grow and will become something in the future. And so finances are, I think, are really interesting because the people that I work with and that I educate, they have to have a vision for their future. And there's a famous book by Stephen Covey, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, and he says start with the end in mind. And with your finances, when you're talking about something that's not tangible, you have to have a goal. You have to know like where you want to be in the future so that you can plan for where you want to go to. And then, the financial literacy is important because you have to have faith in where you're putting your money, what it's going to do, that it's going to get you from here to there. So it's not financial literacy is not a transactional thing, right? It's something where you have to have vision. Everyone you're working with, all the people that I educate, they have to have a vision of where they want to go. Because if one person wants to go from here to here, it may be very simple for them to get to where they want. But you could have a similar person who wants to get from here to there, like a lot farther away. And so it's going to require that they have the vision, that they're going to sacrifice a little bit more now to be able to get to where they want in the future. So yeah, so it's very important to really understand your whys. I think in life, right, to wake up in the morning, go to work, you got to understand what your whys are, and this is no different.
I would agree with you wholeheartedly, and that's one of the things my platform focuses in on a lot is understanding the why before you really start setting that goal, because you want the goal and all of the things that are in it to support that true, as you said, what Covey says, the end in mind, and be focused to that. So with that said, let's talk a little bit about our economic climate right now. Obviously, a lot of things play into it with the economy, and as you talked about, even when you first got into this, it was the 2008 crash and how that all played out. So based on what being in this industry, where we are economically right now, and obviously there's a political climate or current that's running through that as well. What are we hearing? What should we be concerned about? And where do you see the greatest opportunity right now to leverage when you talk about your finances?
So I think, so what I tell people is that when you understand how money works, like the basics, it doesn't matter what the economy is doing right now, right? Because when we're talking about our financial future and financial literacy, we're not talking about the money we have right now, because what you have right now is what you have. But what's going to happen in 10, 15, 20 years? And so, so right now we're going, if you look at the markets, we're going through a little bit of turbulence and stuff like that. But I don't see that as much different than what we went through, let's say, when the pandemic went on, right? And what happened with how the markets dropped during then, or like in 2008 with the mortgage meltdown, or 2001 with the .com. So the markets there's always going to be some factor that's going to cause it to go up and some factor that's going to cause it to go down. And so the way I look at it is, when you look back in 10 or 15 or 20 years, we're going to look at it as a blip, and we have, we call it the mortgage meltdown. We call it the .com crash or whatever, right? The .com bubble. But all it is it's just a period in time that we're going through a transition. And so I don't know where things are going, but what I do know is that over the last, let's say, over the last, 100 years, right? Since the Great Depression, the market goes up and the market goes down.
Sorry, we'll get right back to the video in just a second. Just wanted to ask a quick question. What's stopping you from living, loving, and leading your best possible life? Do you feel disconnected, out of sync, unsure of really what it is you want to accomplish, what your true purpose is, and where you want to go with your future. Well, the ASCENT Coaching Program is here to help. We help you get in sync with your true beliefs, your true understanding, your true values. And from that, we help you transform from the inside out and move yourself towards the life you really want. If that sounds of interest to you, please click the link below. You can schedule a free, no obligation consultation where we'll simply get clear on the things you want to accomplish in life, maybe get a better understanding of why certain things haven't worked the way you feel that they should. And from there, we can move forward to help you become the best possible you can be. Let's get back to the video.
Generally, the market's up. Sometimes the market's down. And so, using that as a backdrop, I think when you talk about financial literacy and you understand how money works, there are ways to benefit when the market is up, definitely, right? But there are also ways to benefit when the market is down. And so it's about having that strategy. And so there's a famous quote that says, you have to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. And I believe that financial literacy provides that foundation for you to stand on strong financial principles. So even when the market's up, those principles stand. When the market's down, those principles stand, right? So it's like your morals and your values, right? When the market's good, it doesn't mean you're a better person. And when the market's down, it doesn't mean you're a worse person. You are always that person. So you have those standards, and your financial literacy can stand like that as well as one of those standards that you stick by regardless of what's going on in the economy.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing that too. So sticking in that vein, obviously there are some pretty standardized places, the stock market itself, and what that looks like, and what that landscape is. And you've got bonds in the bond market, mutual funds, and there's a lot of, managed investment capital that's out there like that. And then obviously the new kid on the block, if you want to call it that, is the whole cryptocurrency space. Based on what your clientele is saying and how they're asking questions, is crypto really playing a large role, a minor role, or what are you seeing when we talk about cryptocurrency in most people's thought process and strategy for planning for their financial future?
So so anyone that has delved into crypto knows that it's much more up and it's much more down than your typical investment. And so the future as far as crypto, it's interesting because it seems like anyone can start a crypto, right? I mean, like everyone and their mom seems to have their own crypto thing going. And so for me, it's actually pretty simple. So in addition to doing financial literacy, I have a private practice. And so private practice, we have compliance and stuff like that. And so our compliance told me, they said, Brad, if you buy crypto, we will terminate you. So because of the speculation, because of like a lot of factors that go into it, because it's unregulated, if all of a sudden, for example, tomorrow crypto became regulated, right? What would happen?